Hi, I'm Andrea and welcome to Productive C Sharp. In this video I want to talk about switch expressions in C Sharp 8. Here I have a Visual Studio 2019 and a console application. As you can see, I have a function called printState that is using a switch statement in order to print the state. The state is a nullable boolean, so there are three cases: when the state is true, when the state is false, and when the state is indeterminate. And I simply print to the console the state. Let me run this code and see how it looks. State is true, false, and indeterminate. Okay. As you can see, the switch statement is quite verbose, and finally C Sharp 8 addressed this issue, introducing switch expressions. Switch expressions allows you to write a switch statement like this one that produce a value, in this case a message, as an expression. So let's see what the new syntax is. So first of all, I want to return a message. So I do var message equals. I don't need to declare the variable separately. Then I switch the state and the switch. So I put the variable name first, and then I do switch. Okay, and the rest of the curly braces are still apply. Then you don't need to use case anymore. You can just provide the value directly and use the lambda arrow to specify the type that you want. And then you provide a string. You don't need to provide a break anymore, and you add a comma at the end, because all of the switch expression is actually an expression. You can do the same for false. Use the arrow, you use the type, and use comma. And instead of default, you can use underscore, and you get the same result. And now I can remove all the breaks. I can combine this in a more compact way. So this is basically what a switch expression is. You specify the name of the variable, then the switch keyword, and then you specify a lambda. It's kind of a looks like a lambda expressions to describe each particular case. And then you assign the result to a variable, or you can actually use the switch expression as part of another expressions. If I run this code, you will notice that it's basically producing the exact same result. There are one important things to mention about the switch expressions. Switch expressions are expressions, so they must return a value. For example, it's not possible to return void, or basically doing simply the console write line directly inside the switch expression, because console write line doesn't return anything, so you can't actually use it. So for example, if I remove this one and do something like this, and here for example I try console dot write line something like this is not possible. You get an error. So all the assignment, call, increment and decrement and await a new object expression can be used as a statement. So that's a very important limitation. So if you need to have if you need to provide in the case statements of the switch an expression that return void, you can't use switch expressions. So you still need to use the old switch statement. In addition to that, if you want to have multiple lines for each particular case, still you need to use the switch statement, because this must be an expression. An expression can only have actually one, can be only one expression. You can't combine multiple expressions as an expression yet in C Sharp. Okay, in addition to this, all the new patterns that are introduced in C Sharp 8 can be used in the switch expression, like tuple patterns, property patterns, positional patterns. You can learn about these new patterns in different videos. There is another thing also you need to consider, that the compiler throws a warning if you don't cover all the cases in the switch statement. Let's, for example, remove these two lines here. If now I build, you will notice that you get the switch expression does not handle all possible inputs. It's not exhaustive. So that's a very important thing. So the compiler helps you to understand if your switch expression is not complete. However, keep in mind this is just a warning, so it's very easy to forget that to cover all the possible paths. In addition to that, if I only remove the last line, for example, in this case, it's still kind of not complete. However, the compiler does not give you the warning. So you might wonder what happens in this case when you actually pass null to the state, because message, there is no a case that actually can handle null. So if I run this code, you will notice that actually throws an invalid operation exception because the switch expression is unable to handle null as value of the state. So be careful that it's possible that a switch expression throws an exception in case is unable to handle the particular case. If you use this which statement instead and you don't provide a default value in the previous example, you'd have got an error instead of an exception at runtime. So this is very important to keep in mind. Also, obviously, the order of the case statements here are actually very important, because if, for example, I put false afterward, you might notice that you get an error because the pattern has already been handled by a previous harm of the switch expression. So each of these is called harm. Because underscore means everything, it's not possible ever to reach this particular arm of the switch expression. So the ordering of the arms is also very important to determine the result. And remember that because the switch expression is an expression, you can actually inline that directly here if you want. I can just copy that, put it here. I don't necessarily need to create a variable. I can just use it directly like that. This still works because it's actually an expression. You can use the switch expression directly inside expressions. And this is pretty much everything I want to share about switch expressions. It's a very good feature. It's all syntactic sugar, but it really provides a very compact way to handle multiple conditions at the same time and avoid to have a lot of boilerplate code like we have in the classic switch statement. So this is a very good feature. I definitely invite you to look around your code bases when you upgrade to C#8 and replace your switch statement to which switch expression when possible. Thank you very much for watching.